You want to run through the routine stuff?
Sure. All right. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:05. I established as a quorum. I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The minutes, I read them. Excellent job, Eleanor, as usual. Does anyone have any questions on the minutes that they want corrected, or?
You had something correct?
Yeah, that one little thing. I know I didn't say it exactly like that. That's okay.
Well, I knew what you meant.
You know what I
If
meant.
it didn't come across in the
Yeah.
minutes, then I will clarify.
Yeah, 'cause that could be an important thing at some
I
point.
thought it followed, but if you think it doesn't, then
Yeah.
fix it.
Okay. Here's Fritz. And is Matt out there, Fritz? Did you see Matt out there?
Matt's right out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
Okay,
All right.
cool. No, that's good. Okay, and public comment. I see Mr. Saperstein here and a huge attended meeting that we have.
I'm just interested in watching a good group do good work.
Okay,
Oh, man.
thank you, Lee, very much. Okay, so Mike, I'll turn it over to you. And by the way, I just want to make this clear, Leslie's not here tonight because of the marijuana thing with town council that just came up before we knew that when this meeting was, when we got the email from Eleanor, and she
Yeah.
had to go to this.
Yeah.
It's kind of taken over our lives, this legalizing marijuana thing, so she had to go, so the staff from Boston came down. So with that, and we'll talk at the end of the meeting about anything anyone wants to put on the agenda for the June meeting.
Could you, I didn't hear who made the motion to approve the minutes as modified.
I think John did, maybe not.
Second.
Oh, you seconded it?
Yeah.
Oh, Barry made the motion?
I'll take it.
For the
There you go.
amended?
I don't remember.
I approved it.
You did.
Oh, you
Jeff.
did?
I approved it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then you-
Sorry.
Then you,
So-
but
So,
then you,
Ellen,
So Andrew made the motion.
but I know where you're going. Let me make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted. Yeah.
Well, not as submitted, there's a very subtle
All right,
modification.
as corrected, sorry.
And I'll second. The,
All those in favor?
aye.
aye.
Thank you.
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, Mike, so it's yours for now.
Okay, this thing shouldn't take too terribly long. This is the meeting to where you are following the 21-day public review period for the TIP and EPWP. Two separate actions. One is to first take public comment if there's any public comment on either document, close the public hearing for both items, and then take action to approve both draft documents. The first is the 19 to 23 Transportation Improvement Program. I did meet last week with the select board and went through a presentation of projects historically and projects that we anticipate perhaps programming into the TIP. The select board did recommend that the PUC approve the draft TIP. Mr. Chairman, there's no public comment at all. We just stand with the recommendation.
Is there any written comments by anyone?
There is in the packet under page 18. It's from DOT.
Okay.
These are just editing documents, editing edits for the document itself. So once those are incorporated, the document will be finalized.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on what Mike is saying on this? Will we?
Mr. Chair, could I just ask,
Yep.
as it will be here, is that typical that you get no comments on something like this?
It can be. It can be. I can't remember when we did have public comment. Maybe when the in-town bike path was, we were amending it in the tip to add the in-town bike path. I think we had one opposition.
Thing is, there's been so many public meetings anyway on this.
Yeah.
Well,
A lot of times, I mean, Judith, that's a good question, and it's something that we've kind of brought up lately. Am I just talking to different people?
Yeah.
Jason Bridges had 750 hits on his little podcast on the roundabouts, and I said that's more than people we've had at planning commission meetings since 2006. Total.
It was up to 2,500.
You know?
To be honest with you.
It's amazing, and it's just things have just changed. People don't.
well,
It's
the reason I'm asking is
Yeah.
currently thinking back about the town meeting and on the ballot on Old South Road and things like that, as well as with the program you did Thursday night, which I was very grateful to see, but I suspect if people see on the website something about tip, they think that I leave my waiter behind. Or, they may not even know what a tip is, or as I think you said when you emailed me, Mike, the whole process that this is layered 1 year to the next and that kind of thing. It just strikes me that it may be tough for people to understand. That's not anything we can do a whole lot about, but it's just I'm curious whether that ballot decision suggested people in the past are more interested or not, and it probably is what I would have expected, but I just thought it might be worth inquiring about that.
Go ahead, Mike.
I wouldn't confuse the ballot question with the tip necessarily. In order to maximize public outreach, we do these email blasts. They're advertising the town website, but above and beyond that, we meet with the selectmen and get a recommendation from the select board to make a recommendation to this body. And for a project to be considered for the tip in the first place, it does go through a very, very rigorous public review process. So it's obviously met some kind of criteria, and although the project may not be finalized and designed to be on the tip, there has been public outreach all along the way, emailing to hard mailing to abutters of the project to get input, holding of a number of public forums like you saw last week. The culmination of all of that is the programming of the project into the tip. We didn't get a lot of input this time around, mostly because we didn't really have any projects for the 5 years in this tip. But we have had it in the past when there's a sensitive project. But it doesn't mean that there's not necessarily a lot of public outreach that leads up to the point of getting it to the tip. The tip is its own public participation process, and each project is had its own public process leading up to that point.
I was thinking back to the town meeting, and I bet everybody was there, just some of the comments that people said, oh, the meetings, I had to be at work, I couldn't come to the meeting, one thing or another, and I just thought that's good to be thinking about as we go ahead, but no complaints on that, thanks for the background.
Yeah.
Sure.
Barry, you got
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, so, and how many legal ads do we post for this? Just refresh my memory, because I know that's another requirement for both the UPWP and the TIP as well.
Notices in the newspaper,
Yeah.
we stopped doing that just for the costs. It was
I thought we're still, I'm sorry, I thought we're still doing that.
not through the newspaper, but we do use all types of social media
Okay.
outreach in lieu of that, just because the cost was incredibly less.
all right.
To go through social media avenues and subscribers to the town's website of news and notifications.
Mm-hmm.
It is on the front page of the town's website, and like I said, all these projects do get email notices to abutters. So the people who are the biggest stakeholders are the ones that absolutely know the process, more so than probably somebody who's not impacted nearly as much.
Mike, we put the thing for Sconset Milestone Road.
Yep.
Was in the paper, which when they read that one sentence, the wide narrowing word.
They went a little crazy.
Wow.
So somebody read something.
Yeah.
I think what happens is if the people read something that doesn't have anything sort of, you know what I mean? They just don't respond. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know we were doing that either. So, because there's some stuff we have in there. Some planning commission stuff is in the paper, but not as much as before. When do we? It's not required. It must not be required by statute that we do
No,
that.
it's not.
Okay.
It's not. We always did that above and beyond, and quite honestly,
All right.
it was getting a little pricey, about $1,500 a year to advertise. And when we amend the tip, along which we always do a couple of different times, it just doubles, triples the cost. So I got a little out of hand, and to not have that be statutory requirement, it was more of a cost-saving measures. We thought we could reach just as many people through email and other means.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions, or before I'll accept the motion to close the public hearing on you want to do one at a time or both?
One at a time, please.
Okay. I'll accept the motion to close the FFY 219 to 2023 TIP.
So moved.
Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just a comment. I just was thinking about something as we were talking about advertising and expense, and I just wonder, since a lot of our meetings are being held at the community room here, something similar to the high school that always has a board out there, and they post all the games, things like that. And as you drive by the high school, you say, "Oh, there's a football game tonight. Oh, there's a basketball game tonight. Oh, there's something." Not
I
to
know
get
what you're talking
complicating.
about.
But if we
A
had
box out
something,
there on the side
yeah,
of the
if we
road
had a
before
public
everybody
notice
turns
area
left.
that says, community meeting here, planning board meeting here, HCC meeting here, or something like that,
Yeah, what do you
each
think of
day.
that?
Are you?
Not while here tonight.
I'm actually gonna-
Or Matt Fee, I think you're going to turn them away.
No, they want to see what we have.
If we really are truly trying to get the message out and have our meetings attended and having the people know, I mean, it's
That's
just
an
one
interesting-
cheap idea to really
is.
get the island
That
out
is
with the
an
transportation
interesting
that we have.
idea. Like at the water fountain.
Anywhere
On Main
where there's a
Street.
good, you can have it at the Rotary. Everyone goes there.
Big highway
Yeah.
sign.
Well, there's a lot of people that have plenty of time to walk out there for that, I would think. But that's an interesting point. I never,
I mean,
in
even
millions
if
of
we,
years thought of
even
that.
if we had one by the police station here, because we hold our meetings here, I don't know.
There's
It's
a
just
lot
thought.
of, but you
A
know,
lot
in
of different
fairness,
areas.
there's a lot of meetings.
Right.
This
True.
building is
I
like.
know. It would almost be
We're running out of
full-time for
meeting
someone,
space.
you know, they bring up the flag every
So
day
yeah,
and they
there's
put
a
the
fire
meeting
department's
posting.
gonna take
Yeah.
over that room,
Yeah.
which I didn't know till the other day.
Well, someone changes it
Oh,
at the high school every
that's
day,
interesting.
so, or when there's
It is
an
interesting idea,
event.
but you're right, we'd have to change it constantly.
There'd have to be a digital one.
Yeah.
That you have
That's-
to do it from your perch.
You know? Then we get into lights, uh-oh.
Wow, that's a good question, John.
Just a thought for future.
That's $2,000 or $3,000 just to buy the sign.
True. Hey, but if it's
Yeah,
1,500 just for one advertising for one
No, that's-
particular
Yeah, you're right.
board,
You're
it
right.
pays itself off. So that's it's a consideration.
No, that's
So.
interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. The UPWP, Mike? Just,
Wait, you didn't approve.
yes, we did.
No, you just closed the
Yeah.
public hearing.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve the draft of the tip. Sorry. Isn't there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Ellen, I got sidetracked with John's side. Okay, Mike, so the UPWP, same thing?
Yeah, same thing, Mr. Chairman. There is a comment letter in your packet for the UPWP from Mass DOT. That's on page 64. That's basically just edits to the document. It didn't receive any other significant comments from the public. And just a reminder for the schedule, and I'll just pop that up on the screen. A number of weeks of time is being devoted. This shows 4 weeks of time for the long-range transportation plan, item 3.1. That's going to be a little bit more time, more than likely, devoted to that. But that's the big endeavor this next fiscal year is updating that document. So just make you aware that that's a lot of staff time to be devoted just to update the transportation plan. That said, no other comments were received from the public. There is the note from DOT about some edits, but with that, I'll ask for a staff recommendation to approve the draft FY19 UPWP.
Do we have to close the public hearing first?
Yes. And just saying, is there any questions anyone has or anything? Mike's comments?
Move to close the-
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, Linnell. I mean,
Move to
Eleanor,
approve it.
sorry.
Move to approve it.
Jeez, that was a while ago. Yes, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Okay, I want to thank you. Okay, Mike, let's see. The reallocation request, is that, what are we juggling around?
Yeah, there's a handout. There's nothing in the packet that was ready for the time of sending that around. But in the handout that you have, basically staff's moving around some time from management and other planning activities and reallocating those to data collection and planning efforts. We're a little over used of the GIS task this last few months. And then the parking management task is a bit stressed. So this effort is to reallocate funds from those from other less used activities and devoting them to the GIS and the parking management tasks.
Perfect. Do you need any action on that? You do?
Sure.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Judith, do you understand what he's saying? It's like,
Yep.
when you read some of that stuff,
No, I
it's
know.
just,
Yep.
okay. So I'll accept a motion to approve Mike's request to reallocate some UPWP funds.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mike, the meeting the other day, we talked about this. How do you want to sort of enter into that discussion? How many of us, I was there, Fritz was there, Barry was there, John was there.
I wasn't there.
I watched.
Did you watch
it.
that?
I did.
Okay, that's awesome. Was it streamed?
Eleanor sent it.
Is that how that works?
Eleanor
Mhm.
sent
With
it.
that? Okay.
It was streamed, Mr. Chairman. No, it wasn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't streamed live, but NCTV did a good job of editing down the
Hey, Bert.
meeting into about a 45-minute view. So if you want to look at the link on the YouTube channel for the
I
town,
sent it out.
Okay.
it's worth a watch. You don't have to watch the whole 2 hours. It's been edited down to 45. So
Oh, good. They cut out some of my stuff. Yikes. Anyway, so how do you want to address us on that? I mean, I have my thoughts. I mean,
Sure.
Just
There was a lot of
whatever,
questions
doesn't matter.
about the ballot initiative being an indicator of whether the project should move forward or not. I don't
Which
think
I
that they were
thought-
necessarily
I don't know what you
related
were talking about.
to
Yeah.
this work session. Town meeting did have a number of different articles at this past town meeting that did pass for real estate and funding. I just considered the Old South Road to be a different topic. That said, we did have a productive work session. I took ideas that didn't, a lot of supportive ideas about especially around the elementary school. That was the station I was at. The traffic around the elementary school was said to be very good now that everything's being reconfigured and allow access to or other means of getting out of the school campus down to First Way. There were some other comments, some requests to prohibit left-hand turns out of Bartlett Road onto Surfside Road, not have evening lighting. There were some things that we wouldn't necessarily recommend moving forward with, but we did take all these comments, whether we didn't necessarily agree with them or we did agree with them, took all the comments down. They're still being assembled by VHB. But I thought it was a productive session, if nothing else, at least to let those who were not that familiar with the areas become familiar with the areas and allows town staff and the engineering consultants to explain the logic for each one of these conceptual improvements. So I don't know if you have any takeaways from the other two intersections. I thought the Old South and Fairgrounds, I didn't really hear much out of that one at all. And then the Four Corners intersection, I think that was productive, but mostly just about the
new design.
yeah, the peanut and the avocado things.
Yeah.
The,
That's what it
Which one do people like?
is. The old ones. The small sinus circle, in my opinion. They had them too. It was there.
So they're not these big.
Well, there was a little bit of confusion about the land that we have versus the land we don't.
Yeah.
And I was confused myself until Andrew fully explained it.
This particular one?
Yes.
Yes.
The high school? Yeah.
Yeah. And now we know, we kind of asked them, Steve, because that guy's name was Steve, right?
Steve Rhodes.
Yeah. And the other lady, we have access to the property where your hand is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, but this could be the one that's over on the west side of the intersection was that building can't move.
Right.
So it's working with those restrictions.
But didn't they have a small circle concept? I don't know if it was VHB or Tetra Tech. Who did that stuff the last round? I can't remember. It's been happening since 2008.
The
So I've kind of forgotten.
The hospital's traffic consultant, Vanessa,
Okay.
did do a rendering that VHB doesn't necessarily support for, there was quite a number of crosswalks on the northwest corner of the intersection.
Okay.
And because that introduced so many additional conflict points that it wasn't deemed as safe. But the mini round, we did give VHB the directive of moving forward with the design of a mini roundabout. However that was configured, whether it be this peanut or the avocado.
We gotta leave that lady's land alone on the corner. The other lady there.
The northwest corner.
Yeah. Is that
Connors.
She was there.
It is.
Yeah,
Dean's
she was.
daughter, right? Yeah. We've got to, I mean, I'm not trying to say we can't, zip off some curbing, but that had it in the front door almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all the mini roundabout options did have a great deal of impact on this northwest corner. So I think the idea is to see if there's another way to reduce as much as possible the impacts. They were very supportive of having a sidewalk go on the property, and they were willing to.
Yeah.
They understood that. It's just how much can you creep in for roadway purposes? I think that was
Especially with
the catch.
semis turning around there.
Exactly.
So it's Nantucket facility. Fritz?
Yeah, I was going to make the same comment. My concerns from this one were somebody going from lower right to upper left, a truck trying to go around that peanut and turning. I just don't see it happen. My question was, if we've got the property that's on the corner there, can you move the entire intersection northeast?
Yes.
Use all
I
of this
don't mean
property?
northeast.
No, he
direction,
means
northeast
towards
on
town.
the picture.
Yes.
Yeah, to use more of this property here.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm told that that's more available than on the southwest corner because this building could not move, the building on the southwest corner.
Yes.
How much of this property would be acceptable, I just don't know, because I'm told that you still need to fit the same number of units on that property. So how it's all configured, it's
You mean buildings?
You have to move that up.
Correct.
Moving
No,
this
no.
back, yeah.
yeah, I think-
No, we know we have to move it. The town has to pay to move it, but we have access to the land itself
yeah.
through the road, the 40
That's
foot
what I
road.
understood. The young man who
Yeah.
told me that building was moving.
Yes, this is flexible. This one can move. Whether we impact this other building with any type of other configuration, I mean, that would be the limits of how much you can move to impact that.
Is there no such thing as eminent domain?
Well, we don't,
We like to
the
walk with the
language, but not the real reality.
Yeah.
I understand the hospital owns the property.
We swapped
I
it.
understand the sensitivities.
And we swapped that road for this, the
Yeah.
40 foot road.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Mike, very few vehicles take a left. I mean, I'm not saying very few, but
Mhm.
less. I think the most important design factor is getting to Prospect
Yeah.
through that mess from Sparks. Okay. Did any of their plans show the slider? What were we calling that? What were we calling that little road? Bypass? I forgot the name they used.
I don't know if I follow.
The little cheetah road that you take a right from from a.
Oh, the channelized turn lane?
Yeah, well, there was a name we had, but I can't remember what it was now.
I always called it a channelized lane, but
Well, that's
if it
because
was
you're a
a-
professional. We had another name. But bypassed the electric box and, kept the tree. The tree was staying anyway. It was
Yeah.
way after the tree. I just can't remember what we called it. Slip lane.
That's the lane.
Called it a slip lane. That
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
Does that, any of theirs show that feature?
No.
It doesn't.
No, and we did do an evaluation. This is going back to the original VHB from 2008, I want to say. That we did eliminate the slip lane just because it wasn't necessary.
Okay. Okay.
You can still make that turning maneuver without, and you didn't get that much more reduction in queue or delay by having that.
And you're adding an extra lane for kids to cross.
Exactly.
So you're making 2 roads instead of 1.
Yeah.
Could you expand on that very point? I couldn't always hear everything and wasn't sure about pedestrians and bike. On each of these, could you just kind of use your red spot and show where the kids crossing would be and how that would work?
Oh.
Under both, the predominant crossing movement is on the east side of crossing Sparks Avenue on the east side of the intersection. So this crosswalk here would be the most predominant crosswalk. Now this shows the avocado showing the splitter island is pretty wide. Under this configuration, you can see that the splitter island really doesn't give a lot of refuge area in the median. So that's why this other strange looking configuration was used.
Is that the avocado or is that?
Can you just show?
Yeah.
That's the
you
avocado.
And the rest of us.
Bigger bottom.
It is. That's the seed in the middle. That's why I want to talk about the seed part. Where is Fritz brought up the thing about the trucks. Is this going to be Belgian block and drive over? Same kind of concept. It has to be.
Exactly. The inner island, this would be landscaped, and the outer would be the Belgian block, and the other configuration,
Have the
the
ability to drive over it.
yeah, what we're calling the peanut. This whole area would be Belgian block, so it all would be mountable.
Okay, but I do agree that the avocado is better. I'm not
Okay.
saying I agree with it as the answer. I think it's a
Yeah.
lot better than the peanut.
Yeah.
John?
Mr.
so-
Chair, just a question for Mike. And I'm just looking at this, I'm not reinventing the wheel, and I love the roundabout. That being said, has it been explored where maybe we take Sparks And now that we have access to that property where the right northeast corner is, and actually turn that up a little bit and create more of a true four-way, and then maybe have a dedicated turning lane on the right-hand side in front of the high school, where a lot of the traffic gets backed up all the way to the back of the parking lot. So all the people on the making right-hand turns wouldn't be affected. But then the confusion when we come to the stop sign is that it's so far away, a lot of people don't wait.
Yeah,
And then
that's
they
right.
break the mold. But if you had a true four-way, by just taking the spark
slip
staff
lane
to
and
make
forward.
it, then you're directly looking at someone, you go, you go, you go, you go, you go, and it becomes more of
Flows a
a
little bit
flow
better.
instead of having such a far way to the right where two people go, and then that really kind of screws everything up.
If we had the land, all the land, a regular, normal roundabout, just without all the confusion, would work easy on paper. It would be
Well,
easy for them to
could I-
draw it out.
Could I just show you for
Yeah,
a
go
second?
ahead.
I was
Whatever you wanna
just
do.
so that everybody sees what I'm talking about. If you were to take this road, and being that you're already planning on bringing it here, bring it up through here and coming to more of a true top stop, then continue this, have a turn.
Sorry.
That's right.
Sorry. Oops.
Testing your abilities.
I thought maybe it's a touchscreen. And have a true turning lane here, but continue these two lanes all the way up to here. Then you'll have a stop here
Yeah.
for this lane. This will
You're
come up through
removing the
here.
road
You have
over.
a stop, a stop, a stop, and now you're looking at everybody right in front of a true crossing. And this will alleviate a lot of the traffic, all the
Makes
people
it be a
making right
three-way stop
before they
instead
even
of a
come
four.
up to there. I don't know. It's just
Mike,
a thought.
when they had a four-way,
That's
and
what-
for John's,
Yeah.
to bring everyone up to speed, they had a four-way, I think that was option 3 back in the day,
Yeah.
or 4, I forgot. And
2 or 3.
And we looked at that. At that time, we didn't have the exact same land available. We were still talking. In fact, I don't even think the new hospital had been. This was when Arthur was representing the hospital, wasn't it? This was a while ago.
Wow, yeah.
And we were negotiating about the big house, and the green light issue was all coming up because they started working on it when they really, probably shouldn't have. But anyway, so before I get to Fritz, I just wanted to just say that, John, we did have that. The reason that it was not looked at favorably because of the cost to do it versus the cost for a roundabout, it was not going to give us enough bang for the buck, kinda. But this is different now because we didn't have this land this much.
Right.
You know what I mean, Mike?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if that's worth them looking at that, even though I don't technically agree with it because it's not as good, but it's palatable
Yeah.
politically around here right now. God, I just don't want to do something just to do it and it isn't the right thing.
Yeah.
That's my feeling,
But the roundabout
So-
keeps the traffic moving.
It does. It keeps it moving.
These
There's no
stops,
question about
when
it.
you get the stops, and they all wonder when do they go and whatnot. They
That's
have
it.
not often.
It's
Yeah, but-
true.
But I think
Trying to squeeze in.
I think you're onto something though, because I look at these and I see the size of them compared to that area, and I don't think it's in keeping with sort of like the town of that town. It's not like I can accept it out on the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Can sort of accept it by the Stop and Shop, but you start doing this here, I think it's not. It's not.
It's just a
It's not our
weird
built.
spot.
It's not our built
You
pattern.
could blow it all up and start from scratch. and
Well,
be
I
all
think
set, but you can't.
John's idea.
Well, Fritz is next, Barry. Sorry, I'm just sorry about that. I'm just trying to meander around, John. Do you have that stuff to give? Could you give everybody
Oh, yeah.
the old stuff, just so everybody knows everything that's happened? This has been going on for 10 years.
15. Maybe.
So we don't.
But obviously,
there's a
things have
lot of
changed.
stuff
Factors
that's
like
happened.
the land and the access and the easement.
No, the
through
land
there.
part is
that was
different
big.
now.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah, it is.
But I think that would be accepted.
Yeah.
Look, what John's talking about would be accepted.
And also
Sorry,
the
Fritz.
amount. We started
Sorry.
one rotary, and then we added another roundabout by the fire station. Now we're talking about, people are going crazy now because they're saying, wow, we went from one to the potential on Nobodere Farm Road, the
we should
potential
have
for
it on
fairgrounds, the potential for the high school, the potential for Bartlett. Now we're looking at overnight 5. And that's the concern. So if we might be able to reduce a couple of thoughts, and it's just an idea.
No,
to
I
chew
don't
on.
think it's a bad idea at all. I'm not, I'm not going down the road of, I'm only for this. No, because this is, getting something might be better than nothing
Right.
now, 10 years later. Fritz?
One, politically, I think if, we're talking 3 rotaries, this one, I think, is the one that's going to, I agree with John, going to take the most heat.
Heat,
Because
yeah.
they're going to say this, they're going to look at
Kids,
it.
they think it's dangerous, but it's really not.
That's an avocado. Yeah, that's right.
That's not a
Number 2,
roundabout.
I go through this intersection a lot, from Hummock Pond Road to Stop and Shop and whatever. Most of the traffic, there's very little traffic, I believe, there's very little traffic to and from Atlantic Avenue.
There isn't.
Atlantic Avenue's
Mhm.
like, doesn't make
It's-
any difference.
that's
It's
right.
either going up
Right.
Prospect, trucks and other things. The biggest backup is Sparks left and then out Surfside or right, or the other.
People take
that's probably
Vespa.
the biggest. Number 2 is coming in from whatever that is.
Surfside.
Taking the left and then the right.
Yeah.
But people do mingle in there a little bit. If you move so I agree a little bit with John. If you can move the intersection to the top right, make it simpler. You get away from the tree, you give a little bit more road, maybe, from the left to the right, and it makes a lot more sense in trying to sell something like that. The other thing that I would just ask, because I always believe simpler is better if it sort of solves the problem. What if you had a no left turn for certain hours of the day?
We talked about that at Amelia.
The police department just would not support that. I would
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's an enforcement nightmare for them. They
Yeah.
have to vote somebody to be there 24 or during that
Exactly.
time.
Here's my only thought. You have a lot of roads, so if you say the traffic's going to the Stop and Shop or wherever, that direction, if you're coming from town, you're coming out Pleasant Street maybe, and going that way. If you're coming from south of town, you're coming this way. The streets are close enough that you might be able to create a traffic flow, a more global traffic flow that eases the traffic on this intersection.
Yeah. Here's the 4-way intersection that we had.
How'd you find it?
It's online.
There you go.
Oh,
Four Corners intersection evaluation.
there must be a book.
It's only 13 pages long. This configuration just did not have.
That's the slip lane though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In front of the tree.
Right.
That was a while ago, that one. There's 2 slip lane.
I think you need it after
Wasn't there 2, Mike? In between the electric box and the tree, right?
Well, there's another roundabout configuration. Well,
Yeah,
there's
there's
this one as
that
well.
one. That's the one between the 2 things, right?
Yeah.
Definitely have to have a right turn lane. Case closed no matter what
Right.
ends up happening because so many people are taking a right.
Yeah.
It's like right on red in the real world. When they came out with that in like 1978, it really changed things.
Yeah. It's still a very acute angle from making a left from Sparks onto Surfside Road.
But that's less often
Yeah.
than if we improve other intersections, people go in a different direction for that. People are already taking a left in Vespa Lane,
Yeah.
going right on what
Yeah.
people think is Joy Street, but it's really not,
Yeah.
and zooming up around Mount Vernon
Yeah.
as a shortcut, just like they take Newtown Road now as a shortcut, constantly. Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I hear what you're saying,
Been around
but
longer than all of us, Barry. What do you think?
here's the thing, okay, because I go through this multiple times a week, just going back and forth to work, even trying to get here at times. Putting some type of system that will keep the traffic flowing in there, be it a roundabout, be it the Peanut, be it the Avocado, is probably, at least from everything I've gathered so far, is really your best solution. Because if you go back to what the traffic engineers were saying, is that with any kind of 4-way intersection, you're actually increasing the number of conflicts that you have to resolve as a driver. So you've got conflicts with vehicles in 3 other directions that you have to contend with. And sometimes, especially if a truck is, you should
Yeah.
not have to think about a truck making that right-hand turn down onto Sparks, But there's another conflict right there that you do have to deal with.
Occasionally,
Now-
they go Bartlett.
Yeah, I know, well-
I mean, they go Fairgrounds Way.
Let me tell you how many times I stop about maybe 20, 30 feet short watching for those
No,
things.
I know, I'm talking about.
So,
vehicles.
but not only is it just car conflicts you have to deal with, you've also got to deal with the pedestrian conflicts that come up as well, too. Okay? Again, more targets that you as a driver have to be concerned with. So, and like the lady who was there from VHB said, it seems counterintuitive, but to keep that traffic flowing is really the whole thing. I don't think you're going to reduce the traffic congestion that you see there right now with a four-way intersection. You may take a bite out of it,
Yeah,
but I don't think.
What will happen is Prospect and Atlantic Prospect will back up a little bit because it doesn't now.
But Sparks,
It will. The
Yeah.
other ones will get less, but that will get more.
I think you're still going to have. I mean, let's be serious. The number of vehicles that you have backing up on Sparks Ave at particular times a day is out of control. I mean, when you're down almost past the Boys and Girls Club. Now, the other thing too is that by doing that, Vesper Lane should start to flow a little bit gentler too, and that's another conflict area. Just by getting that traffic flowing again, it'll be easier for people to get into that process of getting in there. Again, you've got to think about what's on the other side. Where are all these people trying to go to? Where are they all coming from? I mean, the people who are coming from Surfside down this way are trying to get into the Mid-Island area for work, whatever. 5 o'clock at night, it's the reverse. They're all trying to go
And
home.
you also have to remember too, is
And
Pleasant Street is the other outlet
Yep.
of Sparks.
right, but also remember as well,
Sometimes
also remember as well too, this thing serves as a key intersection to get out toward the Nantucket area and stuff as well. So, kind of putting those all into the batch. That's why I'm thinking you really want to kind of listen. I respectfully say, listen to what the engineers are trying to tell you at this point. I know there's the political side of things, but there's also the ability to try to get it, so it really does work well in the end analysis. And that's what I'd say as one person, I would strongly encourage at this point. Let's try to get it right the best we can.
Right, go ahead, man.
Yeah, have the engineers looked at, if we move people quicker at these intersections, what the impact on other intersections are going to be?
Yeah.
Well, this is,
Way back in the 2005 Mid-Island area traffic study, the whole area was modeled. And one of the modeling scenarios was having Pleasant Street be one way from Hooper Farm Road all the way up to Five Corners. The critical part that needed to be fixed was you needed to fix, obviously, the Sparks Avenue intersection and make that a roundabout, but this intersection also needed to become a roundabout because you would channel the traffic here. If it wasn't, if Pleasant Street wasn't one way and kept to be two-way, you would still see a lot of benefit, especially at Five Corners. You would draw the traffic from Pleasant Street, and this would be more of an attractive intersection to use, or it wouldn't be a place you would want to avoid. So it improved traffic on Pleasant Street as well. So it was
Right, but
a very dynamic solution.
No, I understand for this specific thing, because that was one of the things coming out of town meeting I heard. Why, from some people who voted against it, they said, why are we moving cars more quickly just to get backed up on Washington and backed up at Five Corners and backed up wherever? Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm thinking about this is Nat is just saying, yeah, but as soon as we do this, there's going to be this impact. So I would like to see, if we're going to listen to the engineers, I would like to see them engineer everything now before we spend $15-20 million. Because if we're just going to move them quicker and we're going to be backed up at the Quaker Cemetery and we're going to move them quicker and we're backed up everywhere else, then what was the point? I just think that's, so I don't know, that's.
yeah, I mean,
Well, I think we do have solutions for some of these other bottlenecks that you're identifying.
I think that
Right, so then if the question is faster here, and then everywhere else is faster, now we have to solve, quote unquote, solve these.
Yeah.
Is that really what we want to do? Or do we want to, be working on things that are going to make it safer to be in your cars and bikes? The busiest time is warm and beautiful. Let's make it safe for people to be out of their cars. I mean, we can't. That's 12 years ago. That's probably 5,000 cars ago, peak season.
Right.
So is there some other way to look at
well,
it?
one of the things you could say really quickly is we've done one roundabout in 10 years, 11,
Yeah.
and we've done a lot of bike paths, a lot. of bike path stuff. And we're gonna do a lot more.
But if we solve the in-town, I agree with you.
A lot of things, like the Prospect Street mistake, and I don't wanna get, I promised I wouldn't make this meeting go too long, but, the Prospect Street mistake, we know what happened. It didn't get fixed. When they tore it all up and closed, the second hottest street on Nantucket to close is Prospect Street, in my opinion. Easy street, number one. So now we're sort of looking, DPW, town administration, you, are looking at the fixes that can happen when something else is happening now as number one. That was not done until the last year. Secondly, back to my original statement about one roundabout, if you could just take all the places that need a roundabout and put it on some sort of computer circly little kids thing, YouTube-y thing, showing all those intersections like little Ferris wheels versus now, it would be sold in 10 minutes. The problem is you can't build all this stuff and approve it all to happen in a day. It has to happen one at a time. So you're going to get backup, Matt, especially with the stop sign at the Enquire Mirror part, that feeds to it. It has to stop. If Milestone Rotary, and Mike, I hate to say this because I was the one that caused that issue there when they came to do it. I said we're not ready yet, and we weren't. But still, if we had fixed Milestone Rotary and made it a roundabout at the same time we did the regular one, the traffic would not back up in that little stretch because it would be moving. As Jack was saying, it's always moving. I sat and watched it again yesterday at the post office again. I just went over there and just kind of sat there for a few minutes. I had to go out on a couple calls. I'm like, there it is. It's moving all the time. It never just stops like a four-way stop does. Yeah. I mean, it really, I think the high school is a question, Barry, I agree with everything you said. It's just that how far do we go on this? Like do we just say who cares and leave it, or fix it half fixed? I don't know, because after talking to some people at that meeting, I mean, it's going to be tough to get this to happen the right way. The other ones won't be, but this one will be. Go ahead.
So, a few things.
Just
faster isn't less safer.
It's not faster. It's
but I
slow, steady.
I want to correct that because that's exactly what the engineer said. Faster is, it seems counterintuitive, but here we go again. Faster is not less safer. Okay? It's more, you're talking about more efficient flow of traffic.
Yeah.
Mike, let's just say we did the four-way intersection, all right? All right? It does not work in any way, shape, or form. How long are we looking for before we have to reprogram funding and get it fixed the right way?
Mike's back.
I mean, it would fail. In this report, it is going to give you a level of service, and it wasn't anywhere near good.
But,
and you're making a $2 million investment for something that you really didn't get a lot of
okay.
improvement over what you had beforehand.
So, and how many years out would you anticipate that would push things back before you had
It would
a chance to?
be immediate, because you're just not going to get the level of service.
But in terms of funding,
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying to you, in terms of funding, okay?
Okay.
If we try it one way and it's not working, now all of a sudden you're going to have to come up with funding again to have to do a recorrect. And this is where I went back to. Let's try to put our best foot forward and get it right the first time. Because my fear here too is that when things start coming to failure again, well, the public's going to be looking at everyone saying, what just happened there? How much did you just spend, and why did that happen? And so, I want to try to be sensitive toward how are we also spending that money as well too, to try, like I said, to try to do the right thing to begin with. The only other thing I want to bring up, and through you, this was very enlightening. The whole thing with the school kids. Boy, have we got to talk about that, because it all boils down into a lack of crossing guards. And that caught my ears tremendously at this point. There's a significant lack of crossing guards that are occurring at critical times there when the kids are going in and out. So, geez, no wonder the school teachers are kind of like, oh my God, what are we thinking about? And I understand that implicitly. So they were saying right now the only way they can truly get any type of crossing guards is you'll get one police person down by the Boys and Girls Club, which is probably the most sensitive area. I agree with that.
Have to have someone there.
they've only got 2 other janitors, sometimes 3 that they're able to incorporate, but it doesn't hit all of the key points. So, I mean, I had a nice long talk with 1 or 2 of the teachers.
There's only one school committee member at that meeting.
Yeah, I know, and believe me, I'm going to be having a
That's
talk with.
interesting.
I'll be having a talk with him as well.
Superintendent.
But it's
No,
just something.
school committee.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
but Michael Cozart,
Yeah.
he had brought up a couple of things, comments, and he had said, you know, it's nice that the janitors and volunteers and you know are crossing guards, but honestly, the liability on that is they're not trained aside from, okay, here's a badge, you're going to be a crossing guard. All of a sudden, if you know traffic, as you know, some of the people driving, they just don't care, and I, for one, from New Jersey, have taken a totally different attitude living on Nantucket.
Yeah.
But if I had just come here to the island, I still have that ingrained, like, aggression in my
Whoever has the
driving.
right of way.
Whoever has, or whoever comes to the stop sign first wins.
Right.
So it's not a, you know, he go, you go, I go. So really, a crossing guard there, if somebody wants to and they're not paying attention with, as what Gary was commenting on earlier, that there's different points that there's multiple points that you have to pay attention to. You know, if a child got hit, and this is a concern of Michael, where those crossways were, if a child got hit, are you going to blame the janitor because he did a poor job with the crossing guard? We're saying lack of crossing guards, but
Was he saying it for new crosswalks?
crosswalks.
For changes as a result of this?
Of
He
the
wasn't
new
saying
roundabouts.
The existing, what they're doing
Right.
now.
He thinks right now the traffic is better than the potential roundabout because the flow has been increased. And I, for one, living on Bartlett, you know, going every single
Yeah.
day for 21 years from Mizzenmast, I watched the traffic backed up all the way to Essex Road every day. And now with the new flow of traffic, now it's only backed up to 30 acres. So they've increased, you know, improvement, or it's been improved 50%.
What's changed?
Well, the whole flow of drop-off.
Oh. You're talking about.
I'm talking in general
I
about
didn't know
both
what
the
you were
school
talking about.
and the
We haven't done
roundabout.
anything.
Yeah,
Like, what have we done? Okay,
Yeah.
you're talking about back a
but I'm talking about
cut-through
both
thing.
roundabout proposals where they're going to be crosswalks and where they're going to be traffic crossing guards.
So he doesn't want to do anything.
Right now, he's not sold on anything and where it's going to be situated and where those, you know, areas are going. He's thinking
He
that
doesn't even
kids
wanna
aren't
do
going.
Bartlett.
Kids are going to be kids, to quote, and they're going to take the path of least resistance and the closest. You know, 2 points, straight line. They're not going to go down and then come back where the safe crossing is.
Mike, let me ask you something.
That's
Could
assuming that
we?
you'd walk right to the middle of
No,
the
he,
Pretty much.
This is where we get. Listen, we would have voted against the fast ferry. I'm telling you. So don't even. I understand how change is impossible. But let me ask you this, Mike. Could we get a slip lane built or designed to be built? It's sort of like putting in conduit, knowing that there could be wires there someday. Could we put it in the right place for either a four-way or the preferred roundabout? So, like, say we had 2 options that we agreed to. One was a four-way that was done a certain way, and the other one was a smaller or whatever worked with that property. Could we just put the slip lane in and try it for a couple of years? And
I
as
don't know if
long,
I follow what location. We were talking about Bartlett, so we were still talking about.
yeah, forget about Bartlett.
Now we moved on.
Now I'm on back to the real problem.
Okay.
Bartlett is easy. We already got the land. I don't know what we're talking about there. But anyway, could we put the slip lane in that was in a spot that was going to be part of a future fix, whether it was a four-way or a roundabout, so that it's not in the wrong place, and put it in? Because that could be done in 2 days. That's nothing to put the slip lane in. 2 days worth of work, and see how much of an improvement there is on Atlantic, whatever we're calling it. No, you wouldn't have to take the tree.
No, not at all.
No, I'm not talking about taking the tree. I said it will be after the tree.
After the tree.
Right.
The one in between the electric menagerie and the tree.
Right.
Yeah,
Mike.
I don't know.
In other words, if we did that
Is that the,
and put it, that's the one.
You'd have to commit to a design down the road.
You have to commit to, in other words, they would have to design something that we would look
Superimpose
at.
one on top
as
of the
long
other.
as the slip lane was incorporated into both designs, which I think it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't know, because this rotary circle is going to be moving way towards
Yeah.
the Northeast, is that? East, northeast direction, right? Isn't it?
On the map.
Yeah, like that way, right? So, towards Co-2. So, you know, if we put that in as a test, Mike,
Yeah.
it would help. I'm not trying to say it would decide us better on a four-way or a roundabout, but it would certainly be a big change in that intersection. I'm just saying. Because part of the reason Sparks backs up is the people on the Atlantic part are doing the whole guessing what the other person's thinking. When you can just go right on red, quote unquote, sorry, but right on whatever,
I know what you mean.
it's going to make the traffic move more. And I'm not trying to say that's some big answer, but it's free compared to the rest of it. Unless,
Yeah, it's
Schools against
another
that, too.
crosswalk you're adding.
yeah,
And,
Yeah.
I mean, so.
see?
But you make it.
But there's a safe haven
To answer your
if they
question.
cross in that
All of
island.
a sudden, we can't cross the street anymore. It's amazing.
He asked me my opinion. I'll give
Yeah,
you
I know,
my
I'm
opinion. I'm just saying it would have, it had zero effect with congestion. I'd be wrong, and it probably would improve congestion a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe for Sparks Avenue, maybe not. It'd probably still back up to the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
But you would make it more. You would introduce an element of that would reduce safety by adding another, where you're having two crossings, either north and south, and that's your major school crossing, north and south, right along that leg. And you would basically encouraging drivers to, just cut the traffic. And if somebody's paying attention, I don't know. Is it increased risk? It absolutely increases risk. Does it reduce congestion? Probably not to the level that you'd want it to. So, and then you get the other element of getting the school to say that that's an all right element that we would buy into, and I don't know if that's really. The reason we got rid of the slip lane was because they opposed it, so
They oppose it? I don't remember
No,
that.
they would not
Give up the
release
land.
that land.
Oh,
right.
All right.
Yeah.
The land part.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I forgot about the land part. I'm just thinking of the matrix of it. Sorry,
Yeah.
Fritz, go ahead. Sorry. I wasn't thinking
Yeah,
about the
I mean,
land.
all of the traffic's going left Sparks to Surfside. So let's just think about that. Why does, or, yeah, that and the right. So they're going this way and they're going that way. The rest of the traffic, if you didn't have the left-hand turn on that, the rest of the traffic would move fairly quickly, especially if you move the intersection north a little bit.
Yeah, but you're-
So here,
Just so I understand, if people go to the hospital, it's Sparks, right? It's
Mhm.
not that that's.
Sparks going through, they can go that way or they can
Okay,
turn.
I just
But
was having a hard time understanding this.
my comment is, what can you do to reduce the left-hand turn flow?
There's spots to it, Surfside.
I would say put a circle in the middle of the intersection and go around the circle.
Where are those people going? Where are those people going?
What he's saying is,
Everybody who's coming up Sparks during the high-traffic area and want to turn left, where are they going?
I think I know what he's saying.
Are they going out Surfside?
They're going to
Or
Humming
maybe they're
Pond
going
way.
out Vesper?
Taking a right on Vespa. They got themselves
Yeah.
caught.
Some
They went the
split
wrong
up.
way,
Some
first of
split
all.
up, sure.
It's like never do that if I can
No,
help it.
but my point is this. I mean, I drive this way. It's not, you can say, yeah, I'd like to go left and right, okay?
Mhm.
Well, you can go straight and you can go down Prospect and you can turn left down on
George Street,
Milk Street,
whatever it is,
that
yeah.
way, or through the
There's a way to spread.
cemetery.
Yeah.
If you're going
Please.
left and you're going out Surfside, well, if
Why
you're
would you
coming
do it?
from the stop
He's
and
saying no way.
and you want to get out
Another.
Surfside,
Yeah.
So that we
you've got
can-
another way to go. You can go on Hooper Farm Road and go that way.
You're saying the Hooper Farm and realigning Surfside Drive is another one that's on the list.
Yeah, so,
A little
all
bit.
I'm saying is, that's what I was
It's an
saying,
issue.
if you say no left-hand turn, you force people to say, I'm going in a different direction.
Yeah.
And this isn't like having to go 5 miles out of your way.
Yeah.
It's just training yourself to say.
Mike, do you think that the Bartlett Road roundabout, he's making me think of something. Is the Bartlett Road roundabout going to keep people from doing what Fritz is talking about? I think it's possible that the Bartlett Road roundabout would get people to go in the Hooper Farm, take a right at Sue's hair salon direction more, because it's working. like it will work. I mean, we know that will work. We already know roundabouts work. I don't really think this is there isn't really a debate. The things work.
I
It's
think
just
they
a
work.
question of
That's
do
the
we
reason
want
why
it or
they
not.
like it, because it does work.
And it's Nantucket, and it's an old thing. I don't know what the history issue is, but that's that's where we're at, Mike. I mean, couldn't you feel that the other night? It was pretty ugly. A couple of
that's why I say
there's
it's
a
not
few
necessarily
situations there that were ugly.
At the
Must
start.
say.
At the
It's
start.
about 10.
I think it calmed down towards the end.
Well, because they left. They left. That's why. But I think that is Bartlett going to happen first? I mean, that's in the queue. That's in the KIP queue.
It's in the tip. It's tip funded. The Old South Road corridor project didn't pass, or else the Fairgrounds Old South Road would probably be under construction for next summer.
Yeah.
But that funding didn't pass.
Now, was the realignment of Milestone was in the Old South list that got voted down at the ballot box, right?
Say that one more time. I missed the
The
project.
Milestone realignment
Yes.
was in that group.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I remember that. It's, I think that, I'm not really sure exactly, I mean, I'm in favor of roundabouts. The question is, if I had to pick 1,000% where I want one over another, I would pick other spots to not have the big battle over this horrifying intersection that is about the worst thing on the island that has the most controversy. I didn't know Michael Kozit was against it until just now. I didn't know that. I thought that some of the school committee members were against it before, like when, Buddy Blair's wife was on there and a few others, they were against it. But I thought that had subsided a little bit.
Honestly, I think it has. Because there's probably more people that realize that it works now than it doesn't. Because I still remember 10 years ago where we were with Sparks Avenue, and then when we started to look at the reconstruction of the Milestone Rotary, it would. I feel the same kind of aggravation. I think
that's right.
You're trying to describe.
I remember that. Yeah.
But I think it's more of a romantic sentiment than that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think that it does work. And I don't know what you say. You could try to describe the logic as best you can, but really that's the only thing we have going for us is just the.
You know what's funny? I was
statistics.
stopping for a pedestrian at the Rotary. Okay.
Which one did it?
No, we don't. No, we don't. We have one.
All rotaries.
Well, that's not true. One's a roundabout, one's a rotary. So in the crossings are in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But we've never said anything. We've never said how unsafe it is, how dangerous it is. Yet it is dangerous there because of how you're looking for who's coming, because it's not really a true roundabout. Sometimes they're behind you, sometimes they're on the side of you, coming from the drinking fountain thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my point is, we sort of are ready to complain and say this is wrong, but we've got one that already is wrong for 50 years. And we don't say anything at all. It's interesting. I'm just bringing that up as a point as far as the crossings.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, you're right.
So
We had 6,000 cars, 2,000 cars 50 years ago. We have 25,000 now. So the things have changed. I think. Well, I haven't answered. I haven't answered.
Nobody ever heard of a roundabout. Till
I haven't
15 years
answered
ago
your.
in the
I haven't
United
answered your
States, unless they go to
earlier.
Europe.
I have answered your earlier comment though. You're talking about how do you pick which roundabout? I think you model it. You put these on a computer. You model it and have the little things drive, and they did that in the comp plan 25 years ago.
Yeah, but they did it with the better people did that, Mike.
But that would give you your answer. You'd say, okay, we should do this one first and this one second.
Yeah.
I think,
Is that possible for VHB? Do we have the funding for them to do this? I don't want to
This is all getting into which is the higher priority intersection, because this Bartlett and Surfside was you have to factor readiness in as well. If the project has right of way constraints, then
Bartlett's ready.
Yeah, that was full blown ready to go. So when our scoring mechanisms, yes, that's our number one priority. Number two, Fairgrounds and Old South Road, because that had less issues. Four Corners has a lot of issues. Now, it's important to remember we're designing all three of these intersections because we're saving a lot of money by designing three intersections all at once. It's not that we're trying to build all of them all at once. It's that we're saving $50,000 by doing all at once.
With that said, then, Mike, from a staff perspective,
and
you just sort of answered like 5 other questions by just saying what you just said, as I didn't know that we were doing that.
Okay.
Packaging it.
Yeah.
then we don't have to, how long do we have them on the meter? How long are they,
Probably
whatever?
about a 2-year window.
Okay, so if we say to them, we have the two that we know are good to go. Well, the Old South to Fairgrounds has no land issues. There's not a single bit of an issue there. We have a lot of flexibility as to how to even design that. We could even make a passing lane if we wanted to.
Even
We
at the
have enough
meeting,
land.
I found that was the least
Nobody
controversial.
cares about that one. I think everybody thinks that that's sort of okay.
Yeah.
Plus, with the fire station going in there, we really should be doing it anyway. But the other thing, Mike, if we can keep them sort of working on this for the Fox Avenue section, to kind of massage it a little bit, come back with a couple of different plans, knowing where do we have a survey of how much land they can take? I mean, that's another issue. We didn't really ask that question.
They have survey that was done about a month ago. It's still being processed, so we're still working off GIS level.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah,
It's close
It
enough.
won't be till the end of the summer that you're going to see like a preliminary
Yeah.
design set, based off the survey.
Okay.
So it's going to be a few more months. But again, I fall back to we have 3 different contracts. They all have the same kind of time window. If all 3 designs finish at the same time, which it probably could, you don't necessarily have to build all 3 at that time. You can wait if one is more sensitive than the other. And quite honestly, you're going to have right-of-way issues with the 4 corners. Unless you
Even
just
though we
didn't
have
want
that,
to
I
do
know.
the Bartlett
No,
Road
that's
intersection
true.
anymore, any longer. That would be the only thing holding it up.
Okay. Fritz, go ahead.
Just a question. When we talk about funding, what are we talking about, state versus the town?
We want to program the Bartlett Road and the Surfside Road into the TIP with 80% federal, 20% state. And that's going to be about $2 million. So an 80-20
That's
split
all
of
coming
federal
from-
state money. Exactly. And
Except the design costs.
And the local is right about $200,000 for
Yeah.
the design and the
Okay.
construction oversight.
So there is a significant amount of money coming from someplace else to do this.
For this particular intersection, yes.
Yeah, but you want to project that out.
When you,
Which is Bartlett and Surfside Road, for this particular intersection, we got this it's already been approved as the advance into the TIP. For in Mass DOT, it can't be put into the TIP, but it's been approved by DOT. The Fairgrounds and Old South Road is one we wanted to do locally, which that was going to be a cheaper design because you don't have to go through the same rigor
let
through
me
the
just
design
ask a
process.
question
Yeah.
on Old South Road. So that's kind of gone to the town meeting as a part of a greater thing. People didn't like it. You mentioned something just a minute ago, which is bypass lane coming into town and an easier right-hand turn coming off Fairgrounds.
A delineated term, yeah. We already have it, but it's
Is that a
unmarked.
solution that's not a rotary?
I would say that that's something that
The town's going to pay for it.
the town's going to pay for that because they have to pay for something once in a while. You know, with these things,
Or
it
just
goes on
get leading
forever.
projects.
Well, we've run out, there's certain things we've run out of large bike path projects. Now it's all filler stuff, except for the in town, but that's such a conundrum of different pieces. You know, as far as like a regular road bike path, we've run out, except for some of the larger ideas. I know you were going to bring that up. I knew you were going to say that. But that's just, all right, well, anyway, Mike, I mean, the Old South one, we want, I don't think town meeting, and this is where we get into it, we knew this was going to come up. The town meeting approved this. The voters have disapproved, in my opinion, $14 million and not knowing what they were voting for. When I asked Brian Turbot at town meeting, I introduced the audience, nobody knows who he is this an authorization to borrow? He nodded yes. It's not, we weren't borrowing $14 million, but that is what the voters thought at the ballot box. It wasn't somebody from the finance department telling them what this means. That's what happens when we do these articles
Yeah.
that aren't totally explained,
Yeah.
okay? So I think we're going to end up going back to town meeting with separate articles for different pieces that otherwise may have been approved if they weren't included in that big pile.
I'm not sure I agree with you.
No, but that's
I mean,
okay.
Just,
That's okay. No. I'm just saying
I'm not sure the voters are looking, I mean, that's the reason the way they voted for it, but think it's still problematic.
When we voted for Shimo, didn't vote for Matticat, but we approved Matticat at town meeting. It's the same thing. I'm talking about the sewer now. It's complicated when people go to the ballot box and read that thing sitting there with a pencil. You know what I mean? It's different than it is when you're at town meeting.
Can I just raise a
Go
point
ahead.
when you said about the borrowing and Brian Talbot? There was so much of that was sloppy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to
Yeah.
throw anybody under the bus. It's just that process really wasn't very transparent. It was brought up at the selectmen's meeting last week that nobody really knew that you're asking for $14 million of authorization.
Yes.
You don't necessarily have to
Wasn't-
obligate every
It wasn't
penny.
a debt override.
Yeah, just one
Debt
second,
exclusion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
You don't have to borrow every single penny of that 14 million. It was just an authorization. The point that one of the select board members pointed on was like that really wasn't communicated. That it only really was about a $9 million article with a $14 million authorization assigned to it. Projects like Milestone Rotary could have been done by the state using federal aid, and then other intersections could be used a lot of federal aid. So you never were going to use the whole 14 million. That we just didn't do a very good
Placeholder.
job of explaining that. And then to explain the tax impact to folks on a $14 million debt, that was a lot of bad information that was sent around the day before the ballot went out, saying there was the highest impact to the tax roll and to taxpayers, when it really wasn't at all. You were never going to see that figure that was communicated out 2 days before the ballot election. And that was completely unfair that misinformation got circulated around. I think if a different set of information got sent around, it would have been a different story.
I think that, Fritz, you got something you want to say, I'm sure, because I'm just sort of on the same point you brought. Well, it's on the same point, is the two ladies that I was talking to at the table with what's the lady from the state's name again?
She was for VHB. She wasn't with Mass.
No, I know. Well, that's what I meant.
Trish
VHB.
Domigan.
Okay. She was very nice, and we were sitting there, and I had these two ladies I've never seen before. I've been here since 1972. I've never seen them. I can't believe it. I don't know where they've been hiding, where I've been hiding. But anyway, they had no idea about the tax, sort of the way our taxes work. None. Okay, so again, the whole way this town functions financially is part of what happens with articles. The way it was put in. When we took the diff off last fall, November 8th, no, 7th, and we made that everything nicey with the finance committee, and we went forward through Capcom, through finance with the 14 million. It was started at 15, but it ended up at 14. At that time, Fritz, and I want you to understand how this all happened. It was very positive then, and somehow from fall town meeting to April, wheels fell off with the voters, and I think it was Six Fairgrounds and these other things that made everybody get angry over nothing, and then planning board's fault and all that, which we already know. We've been blamed for everything. That's fine. So, so now we're back to sort of a square one with a big starter kit. We already kind of know what's going on with all these intersections. The last time we argued about this, we didn't even have Poets Corner. We didn't even have it yet. I mean, we didn't have Gail Sharetz's. So now we have that, and we have that ready to go. It's in the tip. We didn't have the railroad bed done yet. I mean, we had a lot of things in flux 2 years ago, Mike.
Yep.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So I think that back to the drawing board, broken out, better explanation is going to win this slow process of getting one roundabout every decade built in Nantucket. Sorry to say, but that's what it is. One a decade, it seems.
The biggest thing that can do it is the meeting you guys had the other night.
Absolutely.
Those are the things that were missing last time. They were missing. There wasn't a good. There wasn't good public process for it.
You're talking about this past fall.
This past fall, there wasn't public process.
Well, we had Betta, but Betta is here and no one's here.
No, but so that doesn't work. So you can't
We
say.
need to have the Thomas the Tank sort of thing that Betta did with VHB, Mike.
Yes,
to show how the vehicles move.
You need to do the modeling. Still, I think if it's going to pass,
I
it
like
needs to be
that
modeled.
idea.
And
I just don't know if they can do it.
They can do it. They did it 25 years ago, Nat.
No, but I know, but Matt, I mean, is it in their scope of their contract that we have?
I see Matt getting to a very grand scope and a very elaborate project, and I would want to ratchet way, way, way back. And quite honestly, I'd submit that a lot of that work's already been done with some work from about 10
Well,
years
Matt's
ago.
talking about the public perception.
Well, then if
Yeah,
it's
that's what he's
done,
talking
then
about.
if it's done, you
Yeah.
need the dog and pony show
Yeah.
5 or 6 times to show it completed.
And what we mentioned to the Board of Selectmen, Select Board, excuse me,
It's okay.
you know, there really does need to be a lot more production value on rolling out. It was such a large capital request. I mean, there just really wasn't a lot of production value. You mentioned yourself that meetings that we had here for the Old South Road corridor, they weren't very well attended. I mean, probably a half dozen to a dozen of Noshop residents
couple.
attended those meetings.
Yeah.
And that was basically the limit of it. If we did something a little bit more robust, like we did last Thursday, and more frequently,
I think we should
it
do
would
that.
definitely help.
Especially in the summer.
Yeah.
And you need to do what they did for the sidewalks. You need to go to the neighbors and invite them. You need to actually reach out to people. You can't just say, hey, it was listed in the newspaper. It's a public meeting. You should look at it. People don't want to hear that. They want to be actually, they want to think that you care about them and you're asking them to come and look at something and help them solve it. I think the sidewalks were amazing.
There's another
Like
thing,
the
too, before I-
result you got.
Definitely doing more of an area planning process would have helped out, and we just didn't do that for this
Yeah.
project. Just
Barry,
didn't go to the
I want to
businesses.
just ask Barry's opinion of something before I go to Betsy, okay? For just a second. Barry, you were here when Mike first came on. We started the aggressive, robust, that's the new
Right.
word now, robust bike path. I mean, you've been around longer than I have with this. We never had a pushback
On,
on a bike path. Have we, except the extension of Old South? Because we had to write the check for that little piece. Didn't we have a little wrinkle there?
there
We
were,
had to finish it ourselves, remember that?
on the Hummock Road bike path.
Well, the
there-
hummock was a check,
Let me
but
finish what I was
everybody
gonna-
wanted it, but
Nat,
we couldn't
Nat.
pay for it.
Now, give me a second. Let me finish what I was going to say. There were some people. I think there was about 2 or 3 individuals who said, "Oh, you know, I'll be dead and buried by the time that happens."
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, they were there for the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
Bike paths, but I think trying to compare bike paths to roadway systems is 2 different critters altogether.
No, I agree. I'm talking about the public. How
right.
they think about this stuff, and how do we keep up with how everyone's thinking? It's
Well,
not an easy thing.
I think you've identified what the situation is here is that it probably is time to take a little bit more aggressive stance with rolling these things out to people and doing the kind of forums that we did with this.
Yeah.
And probably timing is going to be another critical factor. You don't
Yeah.
want to do something now and try to bring it back up in April right before, and say, okay, remember that meeting we had way back when?
Yeah,
It's important. Your timing is just as important as well, too.
yeah. No,
Is-
I agree.
is-
It was
is-
definitely very aggressive with the timeline, and that was,
Yeah.
like I said, just do the study and go to town meeting. It was very quick.
Yeah, and I think, when you've got to get that information out slightly more in advance. It's because even trying to bring up some things at town meeting, it didn't flow where it should have, I don't think. And some of this is lessons learned,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do
John's
think
awesome.
that maybe just
Oh.
having some more public public forums in a bigger way before you get to town meeting is really good. And again, if we know it's happening sooner, but repeat it as soon as we get there. Nat, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And
All right.
we, and
Just to answer
having-
your question.
Mary Navissimo needs to have some kind of button to press to show what Matt's talking about and what Barry's talking about.
Yeah.
To have some kind of, because guess what? Town meeting ends up being a public hearing. It just happens
Yep.
by itself. Chris, sorry.
I agree 100% with that. I think you can't underestimate how much time you have to devote to educating or talking to the public. And to say, we had a public hearing, nobody came, doesn't get you anywhere. Yeah, it should be that way. You should be able to announce we're going to have a public hearing, and this place should have 100 people in there.
Yeah,
But it doesn't happen.
yeah.
It's like a SHAP meeting. I say, gee, we want to hear from the scholars about this. We want to hear
No
from
scholars.
Warren about this. You invite them to come. Guess what? The room looks like this.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
isn't going to happen. You got to find other ways to do it.
Yeah.
You can fight and say it shouldn't be that way, but it isn't going to change. So the more public outreach, the more meetings that we had. I thought the other night was fantastic.
Mhm.
I was disappointed with the number of people that came, but that's, I guess, that's realistic. And so you've got to have 5 more and talk about it, let everybody else talk about it. But I just, some of these other, 2 of the other rotaries may make sense at some point. But the one on Four Corners,
the other way now.
I just don't see left-hand turn, you're going to go around, all the way around.
Yeah.
Just a turn.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a squash.
Well, it might work, but it may not work to sell. I mean, you know what I mean? And the problem is, with this stuff, it's a 200-year thing.
Everybody's a traffic engineer.
No, listen, I agree.
Yeah.
They work
Yeah.
in Europe, they
Yeah.
work where they put them in, everywhere on the Cape.
People know how to drive
Around New Hampshire.
drive around them in Europe.
But you know what's funny about that? The more, every day that goes by, there's more people that figure them out. I mean, it takes time to learn how to merge into a roundabout. Go ahead, Barry.
On these rotaries, we're talking about change.
That's true. No, I know.
We're talking about change.
Yeah.
Right.
Barry, go ahead.
But, and you're 100% correct. It has changed. But what's fascinating was people that I was talking with at that meeting. There's an exact carbon copy of this thing. I know that is bright. There we go. You're just at a bad angle. You're just at a bad angle. There you go. Come on over.
Go ahead.
Very few people had heard of the Hyannis roundabout right by the school system.
Yeah.
And that is a very functional roundabout. And it sits right by a school. And it used to be the traditional 4-way stop. And again, here we are right by the school, and it functions like a charm. And as far as I know, because I had asked Michael a while ago, what the stats were on it, and he said there's really been nothing going on with it. So I think you also, as much as you say it's in Europe, it's right here. It's right in our backyard almost at this point, about where you do have functional systems that work like that. But like I said, there's going to be some things that we definitely do need to tackle. And the other thing, too, is what has never failed me is when you have public hearings, who shows up at public hearings? The people who are generally not in favor of it.
Well, that's true.
The rest, I mean, I've been floored when people have showed up and said, I'm in favor of something. It's like, wow, they're there, but they just don't see the value in showing up to support something. So I think you have to, you've just got to kind of, it's important to be able to work with the crowd that's before you at this point. One gentleman who was opposed to the thing, he just wanted to be, when I talked to him, he just wanted to be heard. It was like, and I looked at him square in the eye. I said, okay, fine, I got it. I hear what you're saying to me. Okay. There'll be no way to try to change your opinion. You're fine. And I said, I'm fine with that. There you go. Some people just want to be heard as well,
Some
too,
of
I
this
think.
stuff is
Yeah.
Yankees Red Sox. There's no way to get in between it. It's
Well,
not gonna happen.
anyways.
Mike, what do you think? So to wrap this up a little bit, from a staff level, you answered some questions I didn't know. They're in this now for these 3 things.
Yeah.
What's the scope of what you can ask them to do?
The next
Sometimes
step,
there's a limit.
The next step that we're going to do is at the end of June. I think it's June 21st. I got to double check exactly what date, and that might even move a little bit. But later on in June, maybe even July, depending on the schedule of BHP, they're going to come back with revised concept based on the comments that were received, and some of the comments that were not incorporated. They'll be explained using best business practices to dismiss. Like I'm going to use the lighting, for instance. If someone just didn't want lighting at the intersection at night because it's the dark skies movement and things like this, that's just radically unsafe. Like, nobody can see each other, nobody can see pedestrians, so there's just no way that's going to happen. So you would explain that it's just not safe for nighttime. Sorry that you like to have the dark skies, but there's a balance. Things like that. So at the end of June, maybe early July, have a second meeting, and then from that meeting, we still have a contract executed through the town. So we're going to try to progress the rest of the design using the preferred alternative.
If we take John's little sketch there, okay, and incorporate a roundabout into that sketch, a mini one, and his four-way realignment in the same sketch, we wouldn't need a slip lane on school property, because I didn't realize they were against the slip lane either. How did I not know this?
It was just at that time, Matt, it was only that the school, we went.
No, but I thought,
Members of the school committee.
yeah, but I didn't remember that them being against the slip lane.
They didn't want to cover anything on the property.
Yeah.
They never
Okay,
did.
so go ahead, Judith, sorry.
I just wanted to ask, have people been in touch with the hospital lately? Because they seem to me to be a major stakeholder about that intersection and whatever they may have said when they said it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we got there all set
But
right now. I
in
mean,
terms of design choices.
you're talking about how it works, oh.
Right, I just.
Oh, that's a different question. I don't know.
I sense, I mean, they're dealing with ambulances coming in and.
Well, they
other
want it,
things like
they
that.
want something done with it
Right,
to make it better even,
Yeah, can I just
Yeah,
answer your
yeah.
question? Their traffic engineer actually did the mini roundabout option, so that was their proposal that we
Okay.
used to give to VHB. There's some tweaks, and these are modifications.
Part of why I'm thinking about that is they're a presence that could be helpful to try to move things forward. If they weren't at the charrettes, you know, they still may be people, because of their stake in this, to come back to it. The other thing I want to go back to was Matt's comment about the scale. There, I really agree with that. I see part of the drive to think about a four-way intersection is to keep from having a giant avocado or peanut or whatever it is. But I think aesthetics is part of it, but I do think raw scale compared to the other things in that area are important. So however you're thinking about that, I just didn't want that to pass by without having that on kind of the final punch list. Last thing I wanted to say was, I've been sitting here wondering what the high school does in terms of if they have any engineering classes or multimedia classes, because I could imagine getting in touch with somebody there, a teacher who's teaching an appropriate course, and having them have the opportunity to work with you all for public outreach, and there'd be really a lot of benefit. I'm thinking mainly of a project for multimedia class. That's the kind of thing that they could get very interested in. It would, I keep thinking we need to get the civic spirit in the younger folks, and that when you're talking about doing computer stuff, they might do it for free, for all I know, the engineering class, but not that you can count on it. I just think insofar as you pick up any other energy positively out of the school community, that would be worth trying to do. So I don't know who, if any, might do that. That's probably not your thing, Mike, but if there's a communications person, or if there's a way to put a kind of explained version on video such that it could then be on TV 18 or something. I think a lot of people, just given how hard they work and demands of families and things like that, that the more you pitch things and have it available for at somebody's convenience, the better.
Yeah.
It's good to have the.
Have there ever been anything in the school about this? I mean, I never thought of that. I mean,
No, I've
they've
talked
all
with
graduated by now.
I was thinking in the fall, but then, I mean, just,
Yeah.
if you're gearing up for another outage.
Right, yeah. Mike, I mean, it's an interesting idea. I didn't think of that.
I've talked with Michael Horton about these projects. If there was like an academic, I mean, obviously we're at the worst time possible to start a school project. But maybe, perhaps,
Well,
moving
what-
forward in some other areas.
I-
The hospital is actually a very good comment. I don't think there was anybody from the
Well,
hospitals
I mean,
there
I just think as a
representing the meeting.
teacher, the summer may seem like everybody's on vacation, but it's really when they're having to come up with their new course design. And
Yeah.
if you found the right teacher, it could be somebody doing civics, it could be,
No,
some,
Michael
I'm sure
Horton's
they
definitely to
have
the STEM.
multimedia kinds of things, and that might just catch somebody's imagination in a way that they might spend some time this summer thinking about how to do it.
Yeah. With some of the, some of the principals were very vocal, I guess, with the project. So maybe there's other reasons why it wouldn't be acceptable. But I hear your point, and I think it's a good one.
Bert,
Yeah.
sorry, I missed you before.
A couple things. I would suggest that if we can find those old programs that show traffic flow, if you do this, this is what happens over here. And then it's a video, right? How do they do it?
It was on the computer.
It's a model simulation that we never show up publicly because it looks like little chiclets moving around the screen, and sometimes they just appear and disappear. So it's not something you really want to show public, but it's good for like in-office display.
You could go to something like TV,
Yeah.
and I mean, a lot of people watch on Thursday morning to see what happened at the selectmen's meeting, and Libby gives you a little 20-minute
Yeah.
spiel on what happened. A lot of people go to that every week just to see because they don't want to sit and watch the whole meeting, but they just get a synopsis the next morning. Maybe something like that would work out, where we get a better plan to sell this thing the next time around.
Did talk to VHB about visualizations, but it was mostly like photo simulations of what it would actually look like rather than the aerial with some black lines over the top of it. So, bring up the production value a little bit. You're talking about animation and things like that. We did do that for the Milestone Rotary, and I can see if there's some, and we still have the video online. If you ever want to go to look at this, go to Milestone Rotary Reconstruction, and we have an AIV file saved there. You can watch 20 seconds of cars driving around the reconfigured Milestone Rotary. Maybe something like that can work, but it doesn't give you the performance statistics. It's just animation. Somebody
Well,
did
we
it.
can stick that out in a lot of different places. You put it on Geno TV. You can also, Nantucket Consignment or one of the local Nantucket, all Nantucket people, get it on their Facebook page every day with a little video. We just have to do a much better job selling it so people understand what we're asking them.
Mike, do we have any pictures, or not pictures, but videos of the old post office intersection before the roundabout went? We don't have that. Nobody would have even thought of it. Taking videos of that nightmare before it was fixed. Because everybody says it doesn't work now, which is amazing. Hoover Farm, it goes back a ways, but that's because everybody's taking that direction for a shortcut. Because it works better than it did, that's why. Newtown Road, same thing. You have that?
Yeah, there it is.
Mike, what are we doing?
But
Well, that's Milestone. Yeah, see, that proves the whole thing. Because that's what we need, Mike.
Yeah.
See, Matt's all excited
Put
now.
that out in different places.
Just
Well, but it actually needs to be attached to actual numbers of
No,
vehicles.
but it's...
But if you did
that
that
is
with the
not-
actual numbers.
But you know what? I gave that lady a
exactly.
good comparison. Route 1 versus 93
Yeah, no,
on ramps. I mean,
exactly.
it's what it is. The force, just angling the vehicle to find an opening, it changes everything.
yeah.
And by the way, we made the rotary small with the sewer project from phase 1, but everybody forgot. That's why there's technically width for 2 lanes, part of it.
There's no New Jersey drivers here, though, are there?
They're all being very cordial, right? Definitely not.
This is
I assume in this process that you've done actual, what they call them, counts in terms of how many people are turning left, how many people are turning right.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bike pedestrian counts, turning movement counts, and the reporting that we have to submit to DOT, it's 2 or 3 years old data, so it has to be fairly recent.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a functional design report, but
It's
it's
easy
a
to
big,
show how
big
many people are
document.
turning left and how many people are turning
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
To back to Fritz's point, though, about the left at Surfside, I mean, Atlantic, whatever we're calling that section, is it Atlantic?
Both.
Taking a left
Surfside.
at Sparks to Surfside.
Yeah.
If that was possible to pull off, to not take a left, it would help. But I just don't see it. We can't get mopeds out of car spaces downtown. And the stuff that gets said no to at traffic safety is scary. Like, I just don't see it
No
happening.
left turn on Bartlett on the Surfside.
No.
No,
From
no. Here we go.
Sparks, back to his original question, because
Okay.
I've been thinking about this,
Yeah.
while we're talking.
Yeah.
Taking a left
Mhm.
from Sparks to Surfside, if that was like all of a sudden, can't take a left there, it would it would fix a lot. It would fix the right turn issue, and it would fix the flow of Sparks to sort of go the normal way. But I don't think that it would get agreed to by police department, just the whole
I
thing.
asked whether we've thought about it.
No, I know, but it's an interesting idea. It would work,
Kids gonna get schooled.
but it would never happen. That's the problem with stuff like
You
that.
have to come to a school from Hooper Farm Road or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah, that would be-
if fixing, I think that improving I don't want to say fixing, improving the Bartlett situation is going to make a difference in how people sort of head to Hummock sort of way. Bartlett, Hummocky direction.
But one interesting thing about Bartlett, Kenny Turgeon, with all of his drivers down left no one's allowed to take a left there.
Yeah, left there is
Everyone has
terrible.
to turn right and go down to Suicide Ave or whatever it is over the.
That could be a no left, easier, because it would be new. It wouldn't be, we've always done it this way thing, you know what I'm saying? Barry, you're getting
What?
frustrated, you're all right.
No. Just thinking.
I think, are they gonna bring any
Just
data from other towns with other roundabout stuff? Oh, Lee, sorry.
This has been a great conversation.
I'm not so sure of that.
Lee Saperstein, Secretary of the Roads and Right-of-Way Committee. Eleanor, I have one serious comment which you might put into the minutes. I have one not so serious. I've been listening to all of this. Mike, has anybody interviewed the drivers for Barrett and some of the others that have to take tractor trailers from Sparks to Prospect out to the dump?
Yeah, we just chair in one of our committees.
Yeah, I mean, they just want it straight.
But I'm looking at some of these proposals where
We're used to
they
taking
would
it.
get around it.
Yeah. No, they do, it's easy to do. Oh, with this?
So that's-
Oh, no, because you can drive over it.
That's called, yeah.
It's called a slot. So
The trailer wheels are gonna, the same arguments are made for our one and only roundabout, and
Pleasant.
it works
Yeah.
like a champ. There's only one little tweak that needed to happen there, and it already did, that somebody knocked the sign over that said no left turn coming out of the post office. That's already done.
The not so
And
serious,
they've driven over that, and they've already ruined the divider that stops you from driving.
the not so serious comment is, I routinely drive in Britain. In fact, I actually once passed a British driving test. And all of your comments about, well, this is how they do it in Europe, ignores the fact that the big roundabouts, forget the linguistics, the British call everything from something that big to something that big a roundabout. They have traffic light controls.
Some of them do, yes.
Not some, most of the big ones do. If
The
you-
big ones do have them
if-
in Ireland, that's
If
true.
you come off a motorway in Britain,
Motorway.
you're gonna hit, well,
Carriageway.
it's an A road, you're gonna hit traffic light controls.
Yeah.
So, leave that alone.
But some have them, and some are blinking. They changed them to
They
between busy.
blink late at night, that's all.
Yeah,
But when their traffic counts go down,
Yeah.
they've got these intelligence strips.
yeah. That's good. That's true. All right, Mike.
So end of June, early July, have a follow-up meeting with changes, revised concepts.
When is our meeting with them to come to the school again, or whatever that's going to be? Because that's what you asked me. Aren't we going to try to?
That was last Tuesday, but they got canceled. They wanted to go ahead and have the school come to the meeting on Thursday.
Oh. No. When is the next meeting with VHB coming here for the
End of June, early July.
3 tables?
Yeah.
Or the 2 tables, maybe.
I don't know if it'd be the same kind of, but maybe we'll have the same kind of format. Late June, early July.
Okay.
Just a question. You
Yeah.
mentioned town meeting. Is there anything coming up about these at town meetings?
Not the special. No.
Well,
Right.
the old South,
By
the old
time-
South Road
yeah, I was
corridor.
gonna say, your education period is
No.
Yeah.
short.
Yep.
Yeah, no, with the old South Road corridor projects, I think they did want to come back in 2 separate articles. One with the old South Road
Getting rid
portfolio
of the
projects and then a
Popus,
milestone
Monomoy,
projects.
and nobody. In fact, you were there, and Andrew Fick, Jim Kelly had made that suggestion, but it was confusing as to which things to take out. It's the stuff, Monomoy, Popus, and the Nobody Farm one is out. It's out of.
Now that
It will be on a potential article for April.
No, I don't
Correct?
know if it's out. There's 2
No,
articles.
2 separate, that's what I meant, out of the bundle.
Yeah, it's
Out of the
unbundled.
bundle, that's what I meant.
Yes.
Jeez. Sorry.
The 2 portfolios, milestone projects and old South Road projects.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing for the fall. So does anyone else have any questions? John, I like your little sketch there, I know you were not. It's not bad.
He wants
No,
that.
we're not moving to adjourn yet. No, sorry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Committee reports, staff reports, other business. Does anyone want to have anything for an agenda item? Just say it now, or email Eleanor and Mike for the next meeting or anything.
Just a reminder,
I was asked about
we
that,
have our
to say
annual
that.
meeting on June
It's
18th,
the Thursday, right?
Thursday the 18th,
Yeah.
at which we will reappoint representatives from the NHA, select the county commissioners, on the Concom. Reached out to those people and we got out with the Concom. And
Okay, 18th is a Monday. Are we meeting?
this, we're meeting.
Are you sure what the day? I can't
I'm
remember.
not sure what it's talking
I'm sorry.
But at any rate, and then the at-large member, one of them is, her term is ending in June, so I've advertised this ad in the paper this week, next week, for an at-large member, and then election of officers.
So just, can you send out an email to everyone what day, because remember that thing with the Thursday with the guy from the state? I think that's what's got us all askew.
It's here.
Huh? Is
It's
it the
on
18th? So it's Monday then, not Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real bad.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Bert.
Quick question, Rob. Maybe Mike or Jack can give me the answer. Why is there a stop sign on one of the entries into the rotary on Sparks instead of?
Because it's how they made them.
Because the cars coming straight down Orange Street have a right of way straight through.
It's a yield
So
there,
you
but
have
it's
to
still
stop.
stop. Might as well be a stop
Well,
sign.
just thinking, the rotary over in Hyannis has 5 roads that come into it, and none of them have a stop sign.
No.
But they're all
Because
yield.
they all
Yield.
roads come into it. Nothing goes straight through. Orange
They
Street.
come in at a sort of
Skew.
a little angle, but
Yeah.
not a roundabout angle.
I'm talking about the Milestone Rotary.
Yeah.
Sparks Ave.
Yeah.
Right, the Orange Street goes straight through it. It's a throughway. You
Yeah.
don't stop it. You'd have to stop Orange Street if you.
If there was a stop sign that's orange, no one noticed the difference, because that's what everybody does anyway. If there's a car coming, you gotta stop for it.
When you're coming out.
'Cause
once
you're going
you get
straight.
The yield sign and the lines and everything
Right.
before you get to the rotary. I mean, the only time you can zip right across it is if there's nobody coming around the
Right.
rotary.
You just said
Well,
what I said.
why isn't it just a yield sign on Sparks Ave?
It's not. Oh, why isn't it?
Yes.
Because that's more of a true stop and there's a big crosswalk there?
Yeah,
I mean, I would
it's a
assume.
crosswalk.
The crosswalk there is big. I mean, that's like real. Like people are walking across there constantly. Bikes and people there, that's a different type of stop. This is what makes,
To Bert's comment, though, if it was reconfigured the way we want to
We would have
reconfigure it,
any-
it would be a yield condition.
Right.
Everyone would be.
Yeah.
Everybody be curve.
when did that rotary get built, Jack?
Ooh, way
That's a while ago.
it just appeared, that's all.
It was once dirt.
You didn't talk about it for 5 years? No.
Because that was a triangle there, wasn't it?
One thing we should do, Jack said a couple years ago, we have right of way at Caton Circle. Fix that, in front of that old Buckley house. We have right of way there. You said that to me.
In front of the old Buckley.
Yes. We have some right of way there. We should get a survey done and fix it. That is
Property-
horrifying, Mike.
The Buckley
This-
property went right
we're
up
getting-
to the-
we're
I
getting-
know, I know. Whenever Jack talks about stuff, I like to,
I know, but
you
still.
know, digress a little with him, but sorry. Okay, does anyone else have anything?
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Saperstein. It's
Thanks,
nice
Lee.
to have
Good to
one
see you.
person.
Nice to have the public here.
Yes.
Liaison to the board.
I still can't believe that it's down 80%. Are you looking at those numbers?
Yeah.
Oh, I can when
I
you
can.
look. But you look at the numbers in there? In a couple years, it's gonna start
Oh,
looking bad against.
This is
Remember when we
the,
had
I didn't-
7:30 in the morning?
Yeah, I saw it the other day.
The
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 11.
I mean, the boats have.
Might be hard to know, it's strategic.
That was amazing. You look at those numbers, it's brutal.
For chairs and vice chairs.